All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Let me go ahead and get my presentation started here. So we're going to talk about your 2022 internet marketing plan. And so this is, a plan for increased leads and revenue in 2022. And at the end, when we're done here, I have a handout, which we'll share in the chat, which will kind of cover the key takeaways from this. So don't worry about taking notes. Also, there'll be a replay available for this for you to listen to after the fact. So with that being said, we'll get right into it. So just a little bit about us, if you're not familiar. We're not your typical marketing company. We've joined Napa. We are only for paving and related companies. And so our products and services are not only designed to get great results, they're also informed by industry expertise and the keywords that matter and the services that matter. It's really designed to get results for paving-related keywords. We're based in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and our mission is to help 100 paving companies dominate their market and triple their sales. A little bit about me. I've got a background in science and engineering. Been in sales a long time, and before I started Paving Marketers, I've built and grown a generalist agency called Heaviside Group into one of the leading agencies in the Midwest. We've got over 500 five-star reviews. We've had clients in over 6 continents. Lead a pretty large team of technical professionals who know what they're doing. And so the services that we provide at Paving Marketers have been honed over the years and have been proven to work. So we don't, we haven't just invented these. They've been tested and they've been shown to work well over an extended period of time. So enough about us. When we talk to paving companies, there are really 2 goals that tend to emerge, and generally they're pretty consistent with everybody that we talk to. There's some differences, but it's pretty common. The first goal is that you want to get more leads, and not just get more leads, but get higher quality leads. There are lead sources out there. The quality is not always great, so better quality leads. And then kind of downstream from that, when you get more leads, you are able to dominate the market in your service area and expand your business. And so the people that we talk to, that's what they're interested in, and that's what we try to help them accomplish. And so in order to do that, you need a plan to really win in 3 critical places on the internet. And really it revolves around Google. And so, well, I'm no fan of Google. They are kind of the new yellow pages. They're the de facto place that people go to find companies to work with. And so to win on the internet, you have to win Google. And by winning Google, you also tend to win Bing and other smaller options. So any strategy that's focused at Google will also help you with the others. And so the 3 areas that you need to do really well in are the Google Maps. You should be getting tons of leads from the maps. It's really the best source of leads. And we'll talk a little bit about how to do that. The second thing you want to do is you want to get organic search results. And that's what, when people try to sell you SEO, that is the traditional, ranking for keywords. It's very important, but it's not the only thing you have to do. And so it's a piece of it, but it's not all of it. The third thing is Google Ads. Many people have tried Google Ads and it hasn't necessarily worked well for them. There's usually pretty clear reasons for that. If you know what you're doing and you set things up properly, you should be getting great leads from Google Ads at a good cost per lead. And so we'll talk about how to do that and just some things that you can do to do well at that. Okay, so we'll start with Google Maps. Okay, and I say here it's the best source of leads on the internet. That's true, and what I mean for that is for paving companies and more generally local services business. And you can probably appreciate this yourself if you're looking for a plumber or an HVAC guy or even a restaurant. The first place most people look these days is in Google Maps. Certainly where I look, most people that I talk to, they look there too, and you probably do also. And so the way you win in Google Maps is, one, by showing up, and then two, by really having enough reviews and enough good reviews that they will pick you and they will call you. And if you think about your own shopping activity, that is borne out. Certainly who you pick, you're probably heavily influenced by who shows up and who has reviews. It's the same for your business. When people are looking for paving contractors, or they want seal coating done, or they want concrete done, or excavating, or any of it, they're going to come to Google, and generally those searches trigger maps results, and those map results generate the majority of calls. Okay. And so when you do this right, they do tend to be the best leads. They're close to you, they're searching for you, and because of the reviews, they know your reputation, or at least the reputation that you've achieved in Google. And that's often not your actual reputation in the marketplace unless you are carefully curating those reviews. Okay. So that's when you're getting it right. When you're getting this wrong, you are letting the best leads go to your competitors. That's just a fact. And so it is absolutely critical that you get this right. Okay. This is a pretty typical result. So where this comes from, this is a tool that we use that helps us assess your performance in the maps. And so if you look at this grid, what it's doing is it's searching for the Google My Business result for a particular company who we've blacked out here, or blued out, I guess, for the search term paving contractor, which is the biggest term. It triggers map results, and it's the most general term that will show up for most searches. For example, when someone searches for seal coating, that typically will trigger a paving contractor map result, because there is no Google category or Google My Business category for seal coating. Paving contractor is the closest. That's why it's so important. Okay. So for the actual search term paving contractor, that's a good bellwether for how well you show up in your area. And so what this tool does is this is a 13 by 13 grid spaced 2 miles apart. So it's a pretty large area. It's really the core of most paving companies' service areas. I understand typically you'll serve a bigger area than this, but it's a pretty good bound for, unless you're in a very rural area, the amount of area you can reasonably expect to cover with one Google Maps listing location. Okay. In this result, anywhere you see a 1, you're showing up in the top spot in the map pack. If you're seeing a 2 or a 3, you're also showing up in that map pack. Anything 4 to 20, you're still showing up on the maps, but you're on the second page. Most people don't click through to even look at that. So while it's good that you may be showing up there, it really doesn't lead to very many calls unless someone is really comparison shopping. So you don't really want to be there. I mean, it's better than the red X, which you see a lot of here, which is you're not showing up on the maps at all in those locations. So you can see that this tool paints a very nice picture of how well you're doing in the maps around your location. And obviously, you want as much green as you can possibly get. Okay, now this, what I'm looking at here, is a fairly typical result that we see very commonly. If we look here, again, this is a different company. This is a better result, but still not great. And so I don't know if you can see my mouse here, and I don't know if that's visible on the webinar, but you can see there's much more green here. This company is showing up better in the maps, but still a lot of areas where they don't show up. But they are going to be getting calls. They are going to be getting leads. It's certainly a better result. Okay. This is a good result. There's kind of some funny spots in the data where they're not showing up. That could just be oddness in the data. But over pretty much this entire area here, with the exception of the lower left corner, these guys they're showing up, and presuming that they have good reviews and the most reviews, they are getting the calls. Okay. So that's great. Now, this is even better. And this is one of our customers. This is what we want to see, is 1s everywhere. And they also happen to have great reviews. So they get a lot of leads from the maps, and this is borne out in our data, and they're busier than they've ever been. So this is the goal. You can't achieve it for every map result. You can't achieve it for every category search, but it's certainly doable. And generally, almost without exception, what we see when we talk to people is a situation where it can be improved, which leads directly to more leads. And these are great leads, as we've discussed. Okay, now if you want to check your own map result, you can do it on our website. Just go to pavingmarketers.com, and then you should be able to find your business in the search box there. Type in paving contractor or whatever keyword you want. I mean, seal coating, whatever you're interested in, concrete, that's fine. And your email name, submit, you'll get a copy of this map for you. You can check your own results, see how you're doing. All right, so what do you do with this? These are the three most important things that you need to do to improve your map results, okay? So these are the highest impact. Get these done. It will help you. The first one is get your categories right. So when you first of all, own your Google My Business listing, make sure you have that, and then set up your categories. In almost all cases, we recommend that your primary category is paving contractor. In some cases, very few, maybe where you don't actually do paving, you just do striping or you just do seal coating, we might say, okay, go ahead and lead with asphalt contractor. But generally speaking, that should be a secondary category. Concrete contractor, if you do concrete, you're going to want to include that. If you do any site preparation, you're going to want to include excavating contractor. There's a couple others, but these are the main ones. And so in your Google My Business, get your categories right, okay? Number two, make your NAP consistent. And this is not, this is not taking a sleep in the middle of the day. This refers to name, address, phone. And so all across the internet, you'll have Yelp, probably Home Advisor. There's a ton of different sites that will give you a profile that'll have your business name, it'll have your business address, it'll have your business phone number. That has to match everywhere to get a strong ranking impact on maps. So your Google My Business name should match your company name on your website. The addresses should match. The phone numbers should match. And everywhere you can on the internet, city pages, Yelp, there's tons of them. You want to have your listing match. So you have to make your NAP consistent with your Google My Business and your website. And when you do that, you tend to rank better on the maps. And so this is another very important one, which is often overlooked. Okay. The third biggest thing you can do is complete your services section. So make sure everything that you do is listed. Asphalt paving, asphalt maintenance. You can put patching, you can put seal coating, just all the services that you offer. If you do grading, if you do excavating, concrete, complete the services, and then make sure that you have a services page on your website that corresponds with that. These services tend to trigger maps results. And so you want to have them not only on your Google My Business listing, but you want to have them on your website. Okay, so these are one-time critical things that you should do. Now, there are also things that you should be doing every month that on an ongoing basis help you do better and help you perform. And I picked up probably the three most important that are doable. So the first one is you want to post weekly. So you may be posting to Facebook, you might not. You also want to post to your Google My Business. If you haven't done it before, you can log into your GMB account and make a post. Post project updates, post specials if you're offering, talk about the services that you do. It almost doesn't matter. I mean, there's little techniques that you can do, but you just want to be active on there. There's nothing Google loves more than you being active on Google properties. It stinks, but they reward it, and it's understandable that they would. And so it helps you to do that. Okay. Number two is you want to build citations. Citations are links that have your name, address, phone number in it. And there's literally hundreds of these sort of sites that you can do this on. There's lists out there. You can call us. We can kind of point you in the right direction on that. Obviously, if you work with us, we'll do it for you. But you want to be building links out there that have your name, address, phone. This is linked, if you've dealt with SEO before, and you hear people talk about link building, this is the equivalent for local service businesses. Okay. The third thing is to get more reviews. And reviews are so critical to getting leads from maps. And if you think about it, as you're doing your own searching and you're doing your own shopping, you're going to tend to call the closest one to you with the most and best reviews. And so you have to make it a part of your process to consistently ask for reviews from your customers. And even better, if you can, get them to use the keywords that you want to rank for in their reviews. That's a little harder. I'm happy if you just get reviews. I don't worry about keywords in my reviews so much, but if you can get them, even better. Okay. So those are your action items for Google My Business. Now I want to turn to organic search results. And there's really kind of two categories here, I would say. The first one is your main keywords. So you have like your city, right? City paving company, city driveway paving, right? But that's not all you should be focused on. Okay. And so a little known secret, I don't know if it's a secret necessarily, but you can't really trust search volumes or keyword search volumes under 200. So if you're familiar with the Google Keyword Planner, that's the tool that they put out there that lets you get an estimate of what keyword volumes are. If you get them for your city, almost every time, even for your main city, unless you're like in New York or Chicago or something, one of the huge cities, the search volumes for the paving company keywords are very small. And when they are that small, you just cannot trust them. The only accurate keyword data you can actually get is from running Google ads, because when you pay them, they will tell you what your impression share is. And your impression share is basically tells you what percent of possible views you got of those keywords. And from that, you can figure out how many searches actually happened. And so what happens is the data that they give you for low volume keywords is just not accurate. It's averaged out. It probably spikes in summer, maybe non-existent in winter. It's just not particularly useful. But most marketing agencies just come at you with, hey, here's these number of keyword searches. It's just not particularly helpful. What matters is the kind of the kinds of keywords that customers actually use. And if you think about how you search, your customers search the same way. And so if someone's looking for a commercial paving company, they're going to search commercial paving in their city. They're not going to think, well, maybe I should use, the metro 30 minutes away. They're going to search for the service that they want in the city that they live in. They're not going to pick the big one nearby. And so what you need to do is create an areas served section on your website that covers your entire service area. And so the other thing to remember is each keyword that you want to target, you need a dedicated page. So you can't target seal coating and concrete contractor on the same page. It doesn't work. You also can't target, Chicago paving contractor and Milwaukee paving contractor on the same page. It just doesn't work. When you optimize a page for the search engines, it's one keyword per page. I understand there's long tail that comes in after it, but just for understanding purposes, each page has a keyword that it's targeted. Okay. So the way that you properly do organic search optimization in your service area is by creating areas served pages. Okay. The way that you do this is you take the key cities in your service area plus the services that you offer and make a page for each one. And so you can see here, this is a customer of ours, just a snapshot of their area served page. They got 3 cities here. There's more. They've built up more over time with us. But in Salt Lake City, they've got asphalt paving, asphalt maintenance, asphalt patching, asphalt repair, asphalt sealing, and so on. And so you build these out for each city. Now, you must avoid duplicate content. So you can't just take the same page and duplicate it and change the title. You have to have somewhat unique content in each page. There are different ways of doing that. We do it by talking about the city and the service. And so that combination plus some other factors that we include makes each of these pages unique. And so we don't trigger duplicate content issues. Okay. You want to start by covering the key cities in your area and then filling in as you have time so that you've got your entire area covered. Another benefit of this is when you do this correctly, it also gives you additional Google Maps results and rankings. It's a little hit or miss. We haven't been able to figure out what specifically triggers it, but it works. It's very interesting, and we see kind of interesting map results where you show up on the maps where really you don't even have a location that nearby, and it's just kind of funny that you show up there. So that's what you want to do. Now, when you do this correctly, the results are fantastic. And here is a screenshot from the same customer we were talking about here. The green cells are top 10 rankings, and darker green are top 3. And so these are, left to right is over time. So each row is a different keyword. And then reading left to right is like taking, reading the rankings on each of those dates. And so you can see there's a ton of green here. These pages work. They work tremendously well, and they are matching how users actually search for your services. Okay. It always works, and it generates leads. We see it all the time. Some more examples here. So this is mobile. We see a pretty good overlap between the desktop rankings and mobile rankings, which are people searching on their phones. Same sort of thing. And then what we also see is when we break it down over city. So when we provide our reporting, we give you these breakdowns. We send you these sheets here. And so you can see here, these are the blended rankings for this particular city for our customer. And so it's got each keyword, local, organic, and mobile. And you can see that they're just in that city, they are dominating. And so these are the types of results that you can have in organic and also maps when you build these out. Because the other benefit of building out these area SERP pages is it tells Google that you are relevant in those areas. And so it just tends to amplify how well you do in maps. Okay. So action items for you. What can you do right now for your 2022 internet marketing plan? Main ones are, first, cover your main keywords. So we generally recommend in the absence of doing all of this, your main keywords should be the city that you're in, or if you're in a suburb of a major city, go with the major city. All right. Optimize service pages for these main city keywords. So your asphalt paving page should be optimized for your main city keyword. On and on down your individual service pages. Optimize your site for your main city. That's a start. Okay. And when you do this, the next thing is get the title and the heading right. So if you're using WordPress or something like that, this is relatively easy to do. But you want the title, which is the thing that shows up in your browser tab. When you're looking at your browser, the title at the top, you want your keyword in there, and your heading, your H1 tag, your main header, you want your keyword in there. Getting your keyword, which might be paving contractor city, right? Or driveway paving city. Well, whatever it is, get that in your title and heading, and those send the strongest signals to Google, and absent a ton of SEO work, gives you the best chance to rank, gives you the most bang for your buck. Okay, so do that. The third thing is get some links to your site. Now, you can kind of kill two birds with one stone here by building those citations we talked about. So making sure that your Yelp profile links back to your site. There's a ton of different sites. I should probably make a list one of these times and share it on our website where you can actually, just go on these sites and build these citations. They also count as links, and these build up your website authority over time. Authority is strength. And so all things being equal, stronger sites rank better, and links make your site stronger. Okay, so you want to get some links. It's an important thing. And if it's down to you and some other local company, whoever has the stronger site is going to rank better. Okay. So just like with maps, there are other things that you should be doing monthly to help with your organic search results. Okay. First one is you just want to over time build out your area served. Okay. So pick a city, make these pages, make them unique, build them out over time. When we take on a new customer in the first month to the second month, as we kind of get things rolling, we'll build out 10 cities to start. If you don't have the tools and processes that we've developed, you probably can't be that aggressive, but build it out. Pick your main cities, every month work on them. It will help you over time. Okay. The second thing is post niche and local content. So what does that mean? Put blog post, make sure you have a blog, post content about the paving industry. And not necessarily the industry. I mean, you can talk about the industry, but talk about services. Talk about when someone should pave their driveway, when it's time to restripe your parking lot, stuff like that. Okay, that tells Google, who absorbs your site, that you are relevant to those things. And so when people search for them, you're more likely to be shown. You also, though, want to post local content about your area. And so you want to talk, maybe there's an event that's happening in your area that happens all the time, or, annually. Maybe there are landmarks in your area, or, whatever. Things that make Google understand what your site is about, what your business is about, and where it's about make a huge difference. And so you want to post that local content also. Okay. And then the third thing you can do on a monthly basis, get more links. You just have to get in the habit or hire someone to build links for you, because for the most competitive keywords, and typically the metro, Atlanta paving contractor, things like that, those tend to be much more competitive, and you're going to have to be stronger to effectively compete for those. Okay. All right. So now I want to talk about Google Ads. Okay. And when you do Google Ads right, it's a critical part of your marketing plan. Google Ads are the reason that Google is such an enormous and obnoxious company. The vast majority of their revenue comes from these ads. And the reason that they collect this revenue is because their ads work. And so you kind of have to do it. But there are many, many ways to do it wrong, and only a few ways to do it right. And so you just have to be careful. Okay? So perhaps not surprisingly, because this is where Google makes their money, Google Ads are the first thing your potential customers are going to see when they make a search. In almost all cases, I would say, I've looked at these all over the country in all the major metro markets, and almost without fail, on the critical search terms where people are going to buy stuff, somebody's running ads. And if they're not, somebody should be. Okay? This is both on desktop computers and on phones. Okay? And so you just have to do it. But as I just mentioned, there are many ways to do it wrong and waste money, and that may have happened to you. There is a proven way to do it right, and it works, and we're going to talk about that. Okay? Now, we are monitoring all the main cities to see who's running ads on what we consider our bellwether keywords, which, it gives us a sense of how deeply people are running. Okay? Parking lot paving company, paving contractor, driveway paving company. These are kind of the big terms. And so what you'll see is that some competitors are running ads, and those that are typically doing it wrong. And there's a lot that goes into that, but this is an opportunity for you. Okay. So I'll talk in a minute about some things that you can do. We'll give you some action items, but just know that we very rarely see people doing it right. Almost always are doing it wrong. And so, our customers are at an advantage because we know how to do this correctly. Okay. And so if you've run Google Ads and it didn't work as well for you as you would have liked, there's probably just some basic adjustments that can or should be made where you would be getting excellent results, because we get excellent results. We see it. We know that it works. Okay. Another thing I want to touch on here, Home Advisor, Angie, who owns Home Advisor, networks. Jensen Brothers, all these other lead sellers, they're all running Google ads. Why are they doing this? Because it works to get leads. And then they resell those leads to 4 or 5 different companies. So why would you ever buy leads from these people when you can get them directly yourself for cheaper? You should be doing that. And the other way that they get their leads is they tend to be pulling in tire kickers. So they'll put these pricing calculators out there. People who just want a rough ballpark cost of how much it'll be to repave their driveway, right? So they'll do the Home Advisor calculator. They'll go through that. They just want a price, and they have to give their email in order to get it. Okay, so they give their email. They just want the price, and that comes to you as a lead that you paid for. Well, they're probably not ready to buy, and you got to chase 4 or 5 other people to get that sale, which is maybe not even ready. The way that we run ads and the way that you should run ads is targeting the keywords where people are ready to buy. And so you just have a much higher success rate of those clicks and those inquiries turning into leads and then turning into sales. Okay. And so we do this. And what we've been seeing lately is an average cost per lead of $29 and under. Now that's not per click, that's per call or per web fill. So leads are costing $29. Now it fluctuates. We've seen lower and we've seen higher. But if you're getting $29, $30, even $40 leads, and higher in some metros, 50, 60 at most, if you're doing a reasonable job of getting back to them and quoting them and following up, those should be extremely profitable leads for you. And that's why people do it. Okay, now there's another benefit to this. These numbers don't measure people who see the ad and don't click it, they just come to you directly. And that happens fairly regularly. So there is an argument to be made that you should be running ads just to show up there, because some people will just not click and they'll just come check you out anyway. And there's really no way to measure that. It's just anecdotally, when people start running ads and doing all this other stuff, they tend to get more leads. And that's one of the ways is people seeing these ads, not clicking and reaching out to you anyway. Those are my favorite leads because we didn't really have to pay for them. Okay. Another thing I'll point out here is you can target specific services that you want to grow. So you could target striping if you wanted. You could target commercial if you wanted. And you really have good control over how you target and what you go after. Okay. So how do you do it right? Okay. These are the critical things. The first is you have to use landing pages. Don't ever send paid traffic to your homepage. Give them a landing page designed to convert. You've probably seen this before if you've clicked on ads. You've seen where you've just been taken to a homepage versus you've been taken to a page that's trying to sell you. Okay, and that doesn't mean you have to be obnoxious and just sell people in a obnoxious way. If someone's clicking on an ad, you want to give them a very clear decision. Either call me or give you my information or leave, preferably the former. When you send them to your homepage, you're inviting them to wander around your site, which they will do. And then they'll typically wander away because they'll go click another ad, okay? So you don't want to do that. You want to take them to a landing page. You want to put your best foot forward, give them a potential discount so they don't wander away, and get their information. All right, that's number one. The main number one thing you got to do, use landing pages, and use landing pages for the services you want to sell. You can use a general one as long as it's a landing page, but if you want to get more striping business, make a landing page for striping, okay? Second thing is don't let Google decide. So when you're running Google ads, choose your keywords and run them on those keywords as best as you can. Don't let Google pick for you, because this may come as a shock to you, but they are going to pick what the keywords that will let them charge you more. Also, don't listen to their optimization suggestions for the same reason. All they're trying to do is make you bid on as many keywords as possible so that you can pay them for as many clicks as possible. It's horrible. And so if you've run Google ads and listened to Google, you generally don't get as good results because they just want to take as much of your click money as they can. They're terrible. Don't do that. Be very strategic and precise in what you do. Okay. The third thing is use tracking numbers. Okay, so you can set up Google Ads to use tracking numbers, so you can kind of measure and get an ROI for what you're spending on your Google campaigns. Okay, we actually use site-wide dynamic number replacement, so we can tell if your leads came from Google My Business or if they came from SEO, organic search, if they came from Google Ads. We recommend something like this. It lets you track how effective individual channels are, and you just kind of know where your leads are coming from. Okay, so when you do that, you're able to get a sense of how effective your marketing is and what your cost per lead is. It's very important to know that. Okay, so that's the most important thing for you to do. Once again, you'll notice a theme here. For each one of these, you also need to do monthly ongoing things. Okay, so with Google Ads, you want to get in there and you want to see what they're charging you for. And you might see some of the searches that show up because Google doesn't let you target specific keywords anymore. Even when you try to tell them to do exact match, they're still going to show it to other things that they think are relevant. They took that away. You used to be able to just target the exact phrase you wanted. About a year ago, give or take, I let my team correct me, but something like that. They took that away entirely. And so even when you tell them, I only want to bid for this keyword, they're still going to bid you for other keywords because they're just obnoxious. Okay, so you have to monitor what's going on. And so you have to go in there and see what searches are getting clicked on. And if you see them putting your bid out there for keywords that don't make sense, maybe it's a competitor or that you don't want to bid on your competitors or whatever it might be, you have to add negative keywords. You have to say, hey, don't show my ads if this word is in there. Okay, so doing that tends to hold down your cost and improve your cost per lead because you're not wasting spend on irrelevant searches. Okay. You also want to monitor your stats. So check them weekly, monthly, and improve. So you want to look at impression share. Are you getting all the impressions you could? If you're not, you want to raise your budget. Quality scores. Are your quality scores high? If they're not, you're going to have to improve the relevance of your landing page and your ads. The ad has to match the query, has to match the landing page. When you do that, your costs are much lower. It's another reason not to send traffic to your homepage. Okay. Third thing is your cost per action or cost per lead. So if your cost per lead is trending up, something's going on there. Other competitors might be coming in. You might be getting bad keywords that are sneaking in there. You want to keep an eye on this and make these tweaks and adjustments to optimize and keep your costs down. The other thing I'd say is test different offers. So you might offer 10% off on a job, right? Or you may offer whatever. There's a number of different things you can do. Try different offers to see if they improve your conversion rates. Maybe there's a particular type of service that you can do, like say in the winter you do snowplowing. Okay, well, you maybe want to run ads, get more snowplowing customers. Run an offer for that. Okay, test those. See what performs well. Keep what does well. What doesn't do well, try something else. Okay. All right. So that's it. For Google Maps, for organic search, for Google Ads, those are the things that if you focus on and do them, they will give you results. Now, this is obviously what we do. We have a solution that does all of it for you and more. And we call it complete online dominance. And I'm not going to make this a big sales pitch. I'm just going to give a very rough introduction here. And we can talk if you'd like to. But we provide the solution to taking over the internet in your market. Okay. And so with our service, we're going to build you a strong website in the correct way. Okay. So we're going to have the dedicated service pages. We're going to implement the lead tracking dynamic number replacement. We're going to build you hundreds of these city service pages. Okay. In the right way, engineered the right way. That's your baseline for everything else that follows. Okay. We're going to do a lot of optimization for your maps. And so it's just the same things that we talked about. Optimizing your GMB, using the right categories, doing the link building, doing citations, doing reputation management, which is generating the reviews. It's all included in what we do. Do basically the same things we told you to do for yourself, we'll do for you. Okay. Organic SEO, again, starting with your 10 cities, then every couple months, we're going to add 5 more. Just blanketing your service area with these keyword city plus service pages. They're just phenomenal. Okay. And then running Google ads. And as I mentioned, you get into these tricky areas, it can get up to 50 or 60 per lead. We haven't been seeing that, but just within KPI, we expect that based on what we see. It can happen, but we're seeing it on the low end. And part of that, I think, is because, as I mentioned earlier, most people who are running these are just not doing it quite right. We didn't even talk about some of the things like location extensions. I mean, you want to get your Google My Business connected with your Google Ads because then it shows your address. It can show you reviews potentially. It shows your phone number. It gives them click to call. There are so many little things that let you take up more space, that show people that are searching that you are close to them, and that will encourage them to call you. There's so much that goes into it that really can hold down those costs and give you great leads. We'll also provide detailed reporting. So we do build dashboards that tell you how many leads you got from Google My Business, how many leads you got from just calls from your website, how many forms were filled out, how many Google Ads calls you got. So you can see how well it's performing for you. Okay. And there's so much more, and I'm not going to get into this, but talk to Andrew. He'll set up a call with me, and we'll go through all of these other things that we do that are part of the solution to help you dominate your market. And actually, the next webinar in about a month, I will go through in detail all the things that we do to really show what a total solution to dominating your market looks like. Okay. And one more thing, really critical to us, is we do offer market exclusivity. And so we will not work with a competitor of yours in the markets that you own as long as you are our customer. So we will not compete against ourselves. We will not work with 2 people in the same city. Even when there's overlap, we're going to be careful about that. If it's on the fringes, we are going to respect your territory, and we're not going to help anybody else in it. Okay. So last, I'd invite you to go to our website if you haven't yet and check out our case study from Doug. It really shows the results we've gotten for him, how it's been working. And he recorded a nice little video for us, and he's a good guy. We like Doug. Okay, that's it. Now, I said I would share a handout, so I'm going to do that. If I can figure out how. I know it's in here. Yes, your action items. All right, so I have shared that to the webinar room here. You can also reach out to Andrew. Just call us or send Andrew an email. And it's basically just the slides where I covered the things that you need to do, the most important things to do, and then the the ongoing things you need to do. It's just those slides taken and put in a document, a PDF that you can take with you. So click that, take it with you. The replay will be available as soon as we are done here. And I hope this was helpful for you. So like I said, there will be another one next month, and we'll make a series of this, but that's all for today. So I appreciate your time. And that is the end of this webinar.